Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinx.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you this morning? Perfect. We're still excited with the OjyOkpe Festival. Yes. It's been trending all over the internet. Good morning, our favorite Niger wife.
Good morning,
people love when I call you
Yes,
that.
they do. I hear it in the supermarket.
Yes. You do?
Yeah,
oh, fantastic.
I do.
Good morning. Our favorite international correspondent. How was the festival?
It was excellent.
Yes,
excellent,
you did an
excellent.
amazing job.
Thank you so much.
Kudos to you. You have shown your versatility, as
Oh,
always.
thank you.
Well, all right, we're missing Rufai today. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending. The presidency has reacted to reports allegedly made by Senator representing Borno South, Ali Ndume, claiming that a former Chief of Army Staff, General Tukur Buratai, and his convoy were attacked by terrorists in Borno State. The president's special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, in a post on X, said that the senator was spreading falsehoods. He further shared a statement from Buratai's office clarifying that the former Chief of Army Staff was not in Borno, but peacefully celebrating Eid festivities in Abuja with his family and friends. The statement condemned the report as mischievous and utterly false, attributing it to reckless imagination and purveyors of fake news aiming to malign Buratai and spread misinformation. Meanwhile, Senator Ali Ndume, during a televised interview on Monday, clarified that he never claimed that the former Chief of Army Staff narrowly escaped a Boko Haram attack. Instead, he stated that Buratai town in Bu local government area of Borno State was attacked by insurgents. Ndume emphasized that the security situation in Borno and other parts of the country remain a deep concern, describing it as terrible in most regions except the South, which grapples with economic sabotage like oil theft, and the relatively safer Southwest. Ndume also said that he sympathizes with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu regarding his re-election prospects, drawing a parallel to former President Goodluck Jonathan, who, despite being endorsed by 22 PDP governors, still lost his re-election bid. Let's take a look.
Jonathan had 22 governors then, endorsing him like we did now. And what happened? Jonathan lost woefully. And even that time, what happened? A lot of money was spent, over 2 billion or whatever. And then even the election was sifted. But we are not learning our lesson. And I pity Mr. President for this kind of a thing. Even though he came out one time that this is not time for campaign, we should not be campaigning. But you have already seen the problem now. You go out there and say you are endorsing Mr. President. And when the rumors came out that, the National Assembly members also and this thing are going to be given automatic ticket. The party came out to say, we are not giving them automatic ticket. So who is going to be the foot soldier?
All right. Senator Ali Ndume here. He's been quite vocal. We know that, he's been always the type of person that speaks truth to power. As we saw here, he's making comments about the Jonathan administration. Dr. Abati. Dr. Abati, are you here?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I called your name twice because I was looking at you. Okay, he made mention about the fact that, during your time, 22, PDP governors defected, and of course, Jonathan still lost the election there. And it's good that he's clarified that it was a town in Borno State and not the Chief of Army Staff that he was making, former Chief of Army Staff, that he was making reference to in that statement, basically debunking what Bayo Onanuga and that press statement.
Okay, Senator Ali Ndume is the senator representing Borno South in the Senate. And so to that extent, in the interest of his people as a citizen, he has consistently expressed concern about the security situation in that part of the country, northeast, and maybe perhaps other parts of Nigeria. Now, we keep saying that Nigeria faces a major challenge of insecurity. And government, whether from the Jonathan administration to the Tinubu administration to the future government that will come, will have to address that problem. because the security of this environment we call Nigeria is very important. Now, you know, there's a disagreement between him and the presidency about the details of what he said. Now he has now walked back that statement to say, where he didn't say General Buratai was attacked, but that, you know, insurgents are still operating in the Northeast. Our concern is that whether it's the Northeast or the Middle Belt or the South-South or the Northwest, Nigerians deserve to be able to sleep at home with their two eyes closed and wake up the following morning and enjoy the privileges of the right to life and right to the dignity of the human person. As I said earlier, the Tinubu administration should see these criticisms as, you know, wake-up calls that the battle is not yet over until it is over, and there is a lot more that needs to be done. But the caveat is that the Tinubu administration did not create the problem. The problem is over, you know, 2 decades old. But every administration that comes in has to deal with it. You said Senator Ali Ndume has a capacity for speaking truth to power. No, I don't agree with that assessment.
That's your opinion.
He says a lot of things that do not make sense.
Yeah.
I used to be his sparring partner on Al Jazeera in those days when I was presidential spokesperson. So I know him directly. It's not as if I'm just talking. So it's not everything that he says that is in order.
Yeah, so he's been known to speak truth.
Well, I don't think so. And I know him better than most people who have not even met him in person. And that takes me immediately to some of the statements he made about the Jonathan administration. He said President Jonathan was endorsed by 22 PDP governors for the 2015 election.
Yes.
That is not true.
So that's not true.
It is not true to the extent that in 2014-2015, there was crisis within the PDP. In fact, some of the governors left the party, you know, due to a crisis of internal democracy. The governor of Kano left, the governor of Kwara left, you know, senators, about 13 of them left, members of the House of Reps, some of them also left, the Sokoto governor left, the Rivers governor left. They now joined the APC at that time to form what they called the new PDP, which merged into the APC. So President Tinubu at that time didn't have members of the opposition from the APC or the CPC or the ACN dissolving into the PDP. So that's the fact. And that's, you know, something to look at. The second thing is that the objective conditions are totally different. President Tinubu and President Jonathan, they are two different persons. Now, President Jonathan was a kind of a leader who will tell you, if God gave you 10 powers, 10 baskets of power, you should use just one. Okay? But, you know, President Tinubu probably has a different temperament. He has been saying anybody that wants to leave any opposition party where they have lost their life jackets are welcome into the All Progressives Congress. So, in other words, at that time also, you had a combination between President Buhari, who was a folk hero in the Northwest, and you had President Tinubu, as he is now, with a lot of grassroots support. And the two forces coming together, and then northern elements saying they wanted power to return to the north. So the objective conditions are totally different. So it's not enough for him to say, oh, if everybody is dissolving into the APC, President Tinubu should not rely on that. So in that regard, I think that the analysis is faulty, and some of the details he has been credited with are completely false in that regard. But on the issue of security as a priority, I will agree with him in that regard, because it affects all of us. We all need to be safe. So, but the only thing to say is whether defection or people dissolving into the ruling party, I think our emphasis should be on the Nigerian people. Right. It should be the Nigerian people who should decide in the next general election who their president will be.
Right.
It is not politicians, it's not elite defections, because the conversation is always about elites. Senator this has gone to APC, Governor this has dissolved into APC. How about the ordinary people? People like us, we are the ones that vote. Most of these elites, they run away on election day. You wait when it's election time. You will hear that many of them are already in Spain, they are in England, and they will be phoning, hey, how is it going? How is it? How is the election? After the election is won and lost, they will rush back to come and be lobbying for appointments. Let's place the emphasis on the right of the voter to choose well and to be properly informed.
All right. You know, I particularly liked Senator Ali Ndume's comments during that interview when he said, you know, the APC summit was not supposed to be a summit for endorsing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I mean, it's not the time to be doing these outright endorsements. And we have seen Senator Ali Ndume a couple of times. I mean, only recently, back in July, he escaped suspension because, you know, he said that the administration or, you know, allegedly are filled with or populated with kleptocrats. But we have seen him speak very, very boldly against this APC-led government. In the same vein, as we discuss the wave of defections that has sparked concern among opposition leaders about their political footing ahead of the 2027 general elections, a former spokesperson for Atiku Abubakar, Sowunmi, has expressed a willingness to work with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu if appointed to a position. Sowunmi's comments come after he visited President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to celebrate the Eid al-Kabir festival, despite his previous strong criticism of the Tinubu administration, which included labeling the government as rudderless and accusing it of ethnic concentration and lopsidedness. Sowunmi expressed his admiration for Tinubu and his willingness to work with the president, stating that he will resign from the PDP if appointed to a position. Sowunmi made the comment on live television, but was quickly reminded how he condemned the Tinubu administration, including the appointment of Daniel Bwala. Let's take a look.
Because I dislike.
This is you, Mr. Yes, I'm telling you, I criticized Daniel Bwala when he moved on to the other side.
I didn't.
You did.
No, listen.
You called him a tongue. You called him several names.
I never did.
Right on this program, you did.
No.
I dare say you did.
Okay.
If I knew you were going to deny it, I would have brought it.
Listen, what I said.
You criticized him.
No.
But I think you should apologize to him.
No.
But if you criticize Bwala for working for Tinubu, and this is you talking so eloquently about Bola Tinubu,
listen,
you heavily
I
criticize.
own my mouth, I own my words, I own my arguments.
Does it look to you like betrayal
of who?
Of Atiku Abubakar?
Is he
of you now taking sides?
Is he running for president now? He's running a coalition which everybody knows I'm not part of.
Daniel Bwala, for example, you criticize him for moving to...
If you go and look, you will find out that I didn't really...
I will get it. I'll probably put it online.
It doesn't matter.
To remind you.
You could.
And Shehu definitely did get that video. Well, here is Sowunmi calling Daniel Bwala a turncoat. Let's take a look.
I find it extremely offensive on behalf of those of them who have been standing with the APC, standing with this party for so long, that suddenly a turncoat Bwala is now the one that is getting pictures in the villa, getting pictures in front. Where is Ayo Yalowo, who crosses sword with me all the time? Where is Joy Bokwe, who crosses sword with me all the time? Where is Al-Hawan? Al-Hassan, who crosses sword with me. These are men who have been just like me in PDP. And suddenly, it's Bwala now that is eating breakfast in the villa. It's Bwala that is eating breakfast in Paris. And you expect people to believe that you know what you're doing?
All right. Well, you know what I say always, the internet never forgets. And we are seeing these defections, which he actually condemned in that particular video. And we see him in the picture. Let me take Daniel Bwala's tweet. He was really happy. He wrote, "Vindicated. I am happy that I led the mass exodus. We move. Now on to the next one. Stay tuned." I mean, he is actually really, Segun Sowunmi here. Our favorite.
Okay, well, Segun's comments, well, clearly, this is journalism in action, because you heard Sean Okunbaloye say, well, when the shoe was on the other foot and you were condemning Daniel Bwala, you said that this type of move, this type of exodus, this type of defection is wrong. And he denied it vehemently. And now we've all been able to see that actually he did say the same thing. And I do think that, as we've said many times, as you've said many times, as we've heard here, power is very addictive.
Yes.
Proximity to power is something that many people say that they can resist. But this is another example of someone not being able to resist the allure of the president. He said that he was paying some form of a visit to celebrate Salah, but as you said in the write-up there, he would be willing to work with the president if the president wanted him, and he would leave the PDP if the president wanted him. So perhaps he shouldn't be the person talking so much about other people. Perhaps he should put a muzzle on himself this time.
Put a muzzle! I love that. Our favorite Niger wife.
I think it's just another perfect example of elite politics in action, which is that how does this affect the price of gari, the price of bread, the exchange rate, for the common man. And to be honest, this is a season of governance. It's a bit disappointing that our attention continues to be shifted towards this game of, shall I call it, musical chairs that's happening between the parties and with the political elite, and the issues that are being trivialized in the process. We speak of ideology in the world of politics, and unfortunately, we're not seeing any strong ideology. I think even last week, several times actually, we've also spoken about the fact that the person that they're all, sort of falling over themselves to try and please and to get close to is somebody who actually stood his ground on ideological grounds, and is somebody who stuck to his guns when he believed in something. He wasn't someone who would bend very easily and bow to whichever side for personal interest or for convenience at the time. So again, for me, I think the biggest calamity here is the fact that this is June 2025. We're trying to focus on governance and issues relating to governance. But, as the elite likes to do, the elite are more concerned about their stomach infrastructure and how things can benefit them and their families directly. And as journalists, it's important for us to continue to shift the focus back to governance. I'd love to know what his thoughts are on the current economic situation in the country.
And that's why I said I particularly loved, Ali Ndume's comments about the APC summit, which was supposed to focus on what they have achieved, policies. This sort of conversation is what Nigerian people need to hear, what the administration has been doing so far, instead of these sort of endorsements and conversation about race to 2027. We'll take another story now. Maryam Abacha, widow of former Nigerian military head of state, General Sani Abacha, has defended her late husband against long-standing allegations of looting public funds. 27 years after his death, Maryam spoke on live television, claiming that the monies her husband kept for Nigeria vanished within months of his death in 1998, implying mismanagement of subsequent administrations. She challenged those accusing her husband of stashing billions abroad to provide concrete evidence, such as signatures or bank records. She also dismissed the notion that her husband single-handedly amassed wealth, suggesting that the accusations are rooted in tribalism, religious bias, or other societal issues. Let's take a look.
Who is the witness of the monies that were being stashed? Did you see the signature or the evidence of any monies stashed abroad? And the monies that my husband kept for Nigeria, in a few months, the monies vanished. People are not talking about that. Why are you blaming somebody for is that tribalism or religious program, or what is the problem with Nigerians? I pray for Nigerians. I pray for all of us. I pray that we should have goodness in our hearts. We should stop telling lies and blaming people. Why are we so bad towards each other? Because somebody is a northerner or a southerner, somebody is a Muslim or a Christian, or somebody is nice, or it's not fair. I think the press should try, the press should try to educate the people. You are here to educate the people, to inform the people, and to entertain. You are here to help the country. You are not here to bastardize people. Indeed.
All right. I'd like to just read out some of the what they call Abacha loot that has been recovered. We know that the federal government has, in the past, announced the recovery of multiple tranches of funds reportedly stashed by Abacha in foreign accounts. Like I said, known as the Abacha loot. As of 2020, over $3.624 billion had been recovered across 4 different administrations. In May 2022 alone, the United Kingdom recovered $23 million linked to Abacha and his associates. 3 months later, the United States returned another $20 million. And in 2023, France returned $150 million to Nigeria, all traced back to the Abacha loot. Dr. Abati, over to you.
Okay, Mrs. Abacha, as the wife of General Sani Abacha, may not have been privy to the details of what her husband and his associates were doing. But what we know is that the legacy of General Sani Abacha is a legacy of dictatorship, authoritarianism, brutality, theft, to the disadvantage of Nigerians. There may well be some persons who say, oh, we remember General Abacha fondly, maybe in Bayelsa State. It was under his watch, for example, that Bayelsa State was created. But in terms of governance, I have made the point that the Abacha administration is regarded as the major reason why Nigerians in fact rebelled against the military and said, never again should we have, military rule in Nigeria, because President General Abacha presided over that period that Father George Husani has referred to in a book of the same title as the years of the locusts, the years out of Nigeria's history that the locusts ate. And, even children, even unborn children, have that experience of the dictatorship under Abacha. As for the loot, yes, you are correct. Abacha loot. The ancestor that continues to give.
That's what we call it.
In fact, what has been given from Abacha loot, from the US alone, is over $340 million. The entire loot is calculated to be within the range of $1 billion to $5 billion. And we have had the repatriation of the loot, civil forfeiture, civil assets forfeiture, from the island of New Jersey, from the United States, from France, from the UK, and also from Switzerland. And Nigeria has not even been able to get out of it.
Yeah.
Mrs. Abacha may have a point by saying that, Nigeria has not accounted for what they even got. Okay, she's raising the point about transparency and accountability.
Yeah.
I think she may have a point there, because the experience in Nigeria has been that even when loot is recovered, you don't know whether that loot will be relooted. So if she's asking for accountability with regard to how her husband's loot was managed, maybe she has a point there. But to try to rewrite history and, paint General Abacha in brighter colors, no. In fact, his associate, his number one associate, his boss, General Ibrahim Babangida, has fingered him as a person, in fact, who led the annulment, the conspiracy to annul the freest and fairest election ever conducted in this country on June 12, 1993. When the celebration of that special date in Nigeria history is marked in 2 days' time, there will be further accounting in terms of the role played by, General Abacha and his associated generals in Nigeria history. A sad moment in Nigeria history. So she is talking now. How does she want the Abiola family to feel?
Right.
How does she want, those people who are to run away from Nigeria? Because General Abacha had unleashed jackboots against them. What does she want the media to say? Newspaper houses that were shut down. At that time, I think I was out of job for a whole year because, the Guardian was also shut down. So it's not as if we were making it up. We were part of the story at that time, and we were all in this country together. Yeah. But I respect the fact that as the widow of General Abacha, she has a duty to be loyal to the memory of her husband.
To be loyal to the memory of her husband. But let nobody, rewrite history. Yes. We were all part of it. Yes. I mean, I believe that her comment has raised the question as to what is it that this administration will do with these loots that have been recovered. I've reeled out some of them. Or what has been done so far with the loot, the Abacha loot that has been returned to Nigeria. I believe this is the sort of questions that we're going to continue to ask to the lead of the Democracy Day. in a few days from now. Would love to know what the government has done with the Abacha loot. Well, let's take this feel-good story now. Highlighting a video featuring Nigeria's former First Lady, Dr. Patience Jonathan, reflecting on her challenging but fulfilling journey to earning a Doctor of Philosophy in Psychology, Guidance and Counseling from Ignatius Ajuru University of Education. Speaking at a Thanksgiving service, Dr. Jonathan described the 3-year program as feeling like 40 years due to its rigorous demands. While despite her age and former position, Dr. Jonathan said she wasn't ashamed to sit in class with much younger students. She admitted to facing difficulties in grasping concepts quickly, stating that she had to ask questions 3 times before she understood one. Let's take a look.
My lecturer will get me angry and tell me, go and repeat this page. I said, this man don't know that I'm old. Very soon I will leave this thing and go and rest. Because what am I going to do with it? It's just to keep the brain moving. Just to keep the brain moving. Give you glory. That thing that seems impossible, God make it possible. And I graduated. Before you will know it, last week was my graduation. I give God the glory. I give Papa the glory. I say, God, thank you. If nations can make it, you, the younger ones, you can make it. No age limit in education. You are 100 years, you can make it. You are 10 years, you can make it. Just sit at me. And you will go there, and you will make it.
Oh my goodness. Now Mama Bidiso. I mean, I really love this woman. She just gingers. I mean, I'm sure our audience that we're all excited at this moment, but I loved her comments here. Even if you are 100 years old, you can make it. And she talked about her challenges. I mean, trying so hard, and the fact that she said, at one point I wanted to give up, but she didn't. She got a PhD, and now she is a doctor. Yeah. Doctor, really, I don't know if you want to say something about her Mama really quickly.
I watched my mom do her doctorate from home, and so I can only, I understand.
Yes.
Being a mother, having the challenges and all of the responsibilities and duties of being a wife and a mother, and then facing this, this huge academic task, it's just so beautiful. The joy that she exhibits, she's encouraged people like me as well. I feel like, you know what, I also want to get my doctorate at some point.
At the same time?
I don't know about. I don't know if there's same time when it comes to doctorate, because it's a very demanding. Exactly. But as long as at some point we all further our studies, not everybody is able to do a PhD. Whatever we're able to do, like she said, to keep the brain working. Whatever we can do to keep the brain exercised. That's my Dr. Mama.
Yes.
That's my new name for her, Dr.
Please,
Mama.
a round of applause for this phenomenal
Very
woman.
Proud of her.
Very proud of her. Well, let's take this story here. Meanwhile, a pastor who is the founder of Christ's Mercy Land Delivery Ministry, Prophet Jeremiah Fufeyin, has unveiled a new miracle product, a spiritual nightwear aimed at helping married women whose husbands, as he says, suffers from low sperm count and infertility. Well, in a video that has now gone viral, the pastor held up the nightgown, adorned with his image, and instructed women in his congregation to wear it at night while sleeping with their husbands. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
You will put on this thing at the night hours. Your husband that doctor said has a low sperm count. Let us see whether the low sperm count is still there.
Dr. Mati, there's nothing that we will not see in Nigeria. I mean, not just in Nigeria. We've seen these sort of stories. Now we are seeing nightwear, sleepwear to help infertility. And the other day there was a doctor that talked about 21 times, which, has been debunked. But your thoughts really quickly on this. He's been known to have introduced different sort of products. It's not his first product. He has, they said, water of life, River Jordan, honey of mercy as well, Dr. Mati.
Well, this is a clear case of religious charlatanism. Spiritual manipulation, commercialization of faith. And we have said it here, that many of these pastors, they dabble into things they do not know about. The other day, one turned himself into an expert on COVID-19. At another time, he was commenting on 5G. Now, this one has become a biologist. The subject is addressing is oligospermia. Oligospermia, that's the biological word for low sperm count. It's only medical doctors that can offer advice on oligospermia. Now he is talking about a nightgown that if a woman wears it, the husband's low sperm count will just disappear. Just look at it. What is the common sense connection between a garment and the husband's biological condition? If not shamanism, if not spellbinding, if not charlatanism for the purpose of just making money. Professor Wole Soyinka wrote The Trials of Brother Jero many years ago, in the 70s. In 2025, we're still having these charlatans, dabbling into things that they do not know. I think the standard message, and I've remained consistent in that regard, is that buyers should beware. All the people who have turned pastors into their gods, who go into the church or religious places to worship pastor. Let them not worship pastor. Let them follow the doctrine.
That is it.
Let them also use their common sense. Because some people, they will say, oh, pastor is their daddy.
This is it.
Pastor's wife is their mommy. And, they just listen to anything that they are told, hook, line, and sinker.
This is wrong. Yeah.
So there's a lot for people, to just beware of the kind of things they listen to.
Yes.
I don't know. Some of these pastors are spellbinders, actually.
Dr. Mati, what did you call it? Holy what? Holy what? What did you say? Holy shaman. What did you call it?
Shamanism.
No, shamanism. The actual word for
holy
oligospermia.
Dr. Mati is warning against oligospermia. I have never heard that. Well, all right. Shall we take our good news report now? Following the successful completion of the OjyOkpe Festival in Ogun State, the state government has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Federal Ministry of Art, Culture, Tourism, and Creative Economy to implement the Renewed Hope Cultural and Creative Projects Initiative in the state to boost tourism and preserve cultural heritage. Well, the Minister of Art, Culture, Tourism, and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, who attended the OjyOkpe Festival over the weekend, dressed in a regal white costume, announced the signing of the Renewed Hope Cultural and Creative Projects Agreement with the Ogun State government on Monday, stating that the collaboration is in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive to work with the states to showcase their unique cultural identities to the world. Dakwa Abiodun, on the other hand, highlighted tourism's potential as a money spinner and emphasized that Ogun State boasts numerous cultural festivals and tourist sites, such as Olumo Rock. He stated that his administration has already invested in infrastructure and is rehabilitating sites to attract visitors.
Olua, yeah, yeah. Joy is coming, joy is coming. Olua, yeah, yeah.
We now want to be seen through the prism of being the center of attraction for tourists. We want to use culture as a platform to project our state even further. So I think you could not have come to a better place. You could not have found a better state to partner with and sign an MOU with. And I don't think that, or rather I'd like to think that there's no better time to be the Minister of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy than now, because you have a very deliberate and supportive President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So we look forward to a mutually beneficial business relationship between the state government and the federal government of Nigeria through the Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy.
All right, like I said yesterday, Dr. Abacha, Ogun State, not the carry last. This was amazing. You are the gateway to Nigeria, and I really, really congratulate the Minister of Arts because she's been doing amazing. Anatu Musawa, and I loved her renewed, creative establishment for the arts. I believe that the agreement would have a cultural village. This serves as a hub for cultural activities. There's also preservation of tourist sites. Efforts will be made to maintain and enhance existing tourist attractions and capacity building, which is most important. The initiative will create employment opportunities and expand economic activities through tourism. I mean, this is what we were talking about only yesterday about the OjyOkpe festival. We have to find a way to make it a money spinner across all states, not just Ogun State. But I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on what's trending. And congratulations, Anatu Musawa. Well, that's all I have for you guys on what's trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.